Today, we're going to be diving into 5 foods that can actually help fight cancer. The first food we're going to talk about is green. Green tea contains catechins that have been shown to lower the risk of colon cancer, stomach cancer, and other types of cancers, particularly those affecting the gastrointestinal tract. When you drink green tea, it flows down and touches your entire GI tract, potentially offering protective benefits. Now, what's in green tea? The key compounds are catechins, specifically EGCG, epigallocatechin galate. I actually studied this in my research as a food, as medicine approach. As a researcher, I've specifically studied green tea, and I can tell you that EGCG is a natural chemical found in tea leaves. When you brew a cup of green tea, EGCG is released into the liquid. Whether you're using tea bags, loose tea leaves, or even some form of powdered green tea, like matcha, the EGCG gets infused into the drink. This compound is known for its potential cancer-fighting properties and has been studied extensively in scientific research. Green tea's ability to help fight cancer is just one of the many reasons it's considered a powerhouse in the world of healthy foods. Incorporating it into your diet could be a great step in supporting your overall well-being. And whether it is green tea, whether it's matcha, you're all getting this catechin into your system. So what does EGCG do in the body? Well, something quite amazing. Drinking tea has been shown by cancer researchers to lower inflammation, which is, of course, one of the drivers for cancer. Green tea also boosts the immune system. Now, we all have cancers growing inside our body. It's a natural part of being alive. When our cells divide, they make mistakes, and each of those tiny little mistakes is a microscopic cancer. But our immune system wins by finding that microscopic cancer and taking it out like a sniper. And so good, strong immunity is actually cancer fighting, and green tea actually does that as well. But the thing that I think is most remarkable is that the catechins found in green tea cut off the blood supply to tumors. Now, all tumors are harmless until they actually get a blood supply. And this is a process called tumor angiogenesis. Now, our normal cells, our normal tissues have angiogenesis. We need them in order to be able to heal our wounds. But tumors hijack this process. Okay? They actually feed themselves to get oxygen and nutrients. And when cancer actually does that, it allows tumors to grow wildly. In fact, studies in the lab have shown that without a blood supply, tumors can't grow beyond about 2 millimeters in diameter. And that's the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen. But the moment blood vessels can actually grow up and touch that tumor and feed it, that tumor can grow 16,000 times in just 2 weeks' time. All right? So angiogenesis, which is normal for healing and good for our body, when tumors hijack it, the oxygen and nutrients allow the cancer to explode in growth. So tea containing the catechins cuts off the blood supply and prevents tumor angiogenesis. And that is one of the most powerful and important ways that green tea can actually be beneficial. Now, I'd like to drink green tea every day. In fact, I have a cup of it right here. Walk the walk. And I find it really relaxing. I drink green tea all throughout the day, especially in the evening. But green tea actually is something that is goose back tens of thousands of years. If you look at Asia, tea bushes, tea plants naturally grew there, and they are handpicked. They are dried into the sun. They are lightly roasted over fire, and then the process takes off in order to be able to convert them into different types of tea. You mix them with jasmine flowers. For jasmine tea, you grind into powder to make much of the roasted deeper in order to be able to create black teas, which are also beneficial for your health. By the way, this not just green, but black is also good. Some are in between is oolong tea, which is kind of a medium tea. And then you can ferment tea. It's called puree, beautiful tea. But let's stick with green tea for a second. Green tea has these anti-cancer benefits. So one of the questions is how do you make the green tea and how much should you drink? Well, listen, I like using loose leaf tea. You can actually brew it in a pot with hot water. Don't ever drink tea with boiling water. You just put it in there. That actually creates scalding liquid. It's been shown to increase the risk of cancer because you're injuring the esophagus. Do not do that. Let the tea cool down. And actually, it takes that time of cooling down to also steep out the catechins. That's a little tip for you. And if you're using a tea bag, you want to dunk the tea bag, all right? In order to be able to shake out those catechins into the liquid when it actually is cool enough to sip comfortably, then sip it. That's 2 to 3 cups of tea a day. Actually, it's been shown to be beneficial for many different types of conditions. But the most important thing that I like is that it's relaxing. Okay, next food we're going to talk about is brassica. Brassica is a type of vegetable. It's a class group of vegetables and includes broccoli, cauliflower, and bok choy. It's a green vegetable that you can saute. It's common in many different cultures. You can find it in the Mediterranean, and you can also find it in Asia. What's actually in these brassica vegetables are sulforaphanes. These are another natural chemical. And these sulforaphanes, what do? They boost the immune system. The strong immune system helps knock out microscopic cancers. It also lowers inflammation. Inflammation is like gasoline on a fire, making the cancer grow hotter and faster. When you actually calm inflammation down, you're putting out the fire, all right? And actually that is very helpful when you want to fight cancer. The other thing that the brassica does, it actually contains the cell forfines that actually are anti-androgenic. They starve the cancer by cutting off the blood supply. This is also shown with broccoli, for example. Now, here's something really interesting. This is a protein. The grown-up broccoli is not just the treetops. That's what we used to always eat when I was a kid. Your mom always told you to eat those treetops, okay? And the treetops do have the soft forefines. But it turns out that the long stem of a broccoli is actually mostly a stem. It's like a tall tree with some treetops on it. The treetops have the soft forefines, but the stalk has twice as much of the good stuff. So if you're actually cooking broccoli, they cook the treetops, the florets is what they call them. But also save that stem, the stem. If you slice it diagonally and saute it, is absolutely delicious. You'll find it in a lot of Asian dishes that way. If you don't want to saute it, you can actually just put it into a food processor and make a broccoli soup. You want to add a little oregano in there. It really makes a broccoli oregano soup, which is actually absolutely delicious. I actually included that broccoli oregano soup recipe in my book, Eat to Beat Disease, if you're actually interested in it. Okay, so broccoli can serve fighting. The next food we're going to talk about is papaya. Now, most people don't think about papaya as a cancer-fighting food, but this is actually a sort of an up-long, football-sized and kind of oval-shaped tropical fruit. When you cut it open, when it's ripe, it's actually bright orange inside with little black seeds. You scoop out the seeds, and the flesh, when it's ripe, is absolutely delicious. You can just eat it out with a spoon, slice it up, put it onto a plate, and just have it for breakfast. Have it after dinner for a dessert. Absolutely delicious. Now, papaya has been shown to actually lower the risk of lung cancer. Now, why is it? Well, that red color of the papaya, it contains carotenoids, something called beta-cryptoxanthin and beta-carotene. And these actually are also anti-inflammatory. And you guessed it by now. You get the drift. It's actually anti-angiogenic as well. All right. So we went through tea, we went through broccoli, brassica, and now we're on to papaya. I love to have papaya for breakfast. It's a great way to get some fruit. It's not very sweet, which is an advantage if you need to watch the amount of sugar you eat. Speaking of sugar, fruit is perfectly fine for most people. All right. Don't eat too much of it. Eat a reasonable amount of it. And the whole fruit is always going to be easier on your metabolism because it has less sugar than having the juice. So I always recommend having papaya fruit as opposed to papaya juice, or if you're going to actually enjoy papaya. All right. And most places actually have papaya. You don't have to go to the tropics, although it's wonderful to be there. If you go to tropical countries, do look for papaya, but you can actually find it in a grocery store. By the way, frozen papaya chunks are also really good as well. The frozen chunks actually trap all those bioactive compounds. So that's perfectly fine. Cancer sparing and anti-inflammatory. All right. Next food we're going to talk about are purple potatoes. If you haven't seen the purple potato, it is a beautiful potato. Regular potatoes are kind of brown, dirty looking, but the purple potato stands out. You can tell from the outside that there's something interesting because it's purplish on the outside. But when you cut it in half and hold it open, man, that is a beautiful purple color. And the purple comes from a natural dye called anthocyanin. Anthocyanins are bioactive, and these bioactives, you guessed it, lower inflammation. They cut off the blood supply to tumors, anti-angiogenic against tumors, cuts off the blood supply feeding cancers. And there's one additional thing that I think is absolutely brilliant about purple potatoes and the research that's been done on them in a lab is that purple potatoes actually have been shown to kill cancer stem cells. Now, cancers are just an abnormal mass of cells, but when they keep on coming back, they need their own stem cells to regenerate themselves. You know, when a cancer patient actually has their tumor removed by surgery, treated by chemoradiation, and you're done for 5 years, but sometimes they come back. Well, the reason those cancer cells come back is because of their stem cells. That cancer figures out how to resurrect itself. And so purple potatoes actually have been shown to kill colon cancer stem cells. What an amazing thing. Plus a beautiful food to boot. Now, by the way, if you actually cook, put purple potatoes, steam them, saute them, bake them. Do it however you'd like. You can make a purple potato soup. I have a recipe for purple potato yaki in my first book. Absolutely beautiful. If you want to actually make it even better for your gut microbiome, right? Because there's fiber in potato, you actually put it in the fridge and it turns into a resistant starch. It's easier to digest and also helps your gut microbiome become healthier. So, purple potatoes, check them out. Hey, just a quick note. So, wanted to share another great resource with you. Look, I love eating seasonally. When food's in season, they taste fresher, their flavors are better, and they have, more importantly, more bioactives that help your body activate your health defenses. So they're better for you as well. And I put together a special guide that shows you some of these foods called 3 disease-fighting foods for the spring. Trust me, these are the foods that you're going to want to put in your cart the next time you're in the grocery store or when you're at the farmer's market. Get my guide for you right now for free in the caption below. Now let's get back to the video. All right, let's talk about the next food. We're going to talk about pomegranates, speaking about purplish, reddish foods. The pomegranate is also a tropical fruit, although you can find them in most grocery stores now. They are kind of like a big apple with a thick skin and a little bit of a crown at the very top. They're heavy. You know, they're heavy because they're filled with seeds, and around every seed is a little bit of liquid, and that's pomegranate juice. Now, these seeds in pomegranate juice are packed with bioactives. These are naturally occurring chemicals that give foods their biological punch. Okay, this is what you eat to fight diseases. These foods with these bioactives and pomegranate, they're called elegiac tannins. Now, the elegiac tannins also help to give the bite the kind of acidity and also contribute to the color of the pomegranate. You want to be careful when you actually work with pomegranate because that dye around the seeds will stay in your clothes if you're not careful, all right? But absolutely delicious. By the way, each seed looks like a little ruby, a beautiful red color. Have you ever seen pomegranate in a salad? I had a Syrian salad the other day called fatash, and it had little pomegranate seeds in it. So when you're eating the salad, you bite into it, and these little ruby, fruity rubies explode with sweet flavor and juice. Absolutely delicious. Okay, so what do the tannins do? Well, they do a couple of things. Pomegranate's large tannins have been shown to cut off the blood supply to tumors. All right, starve cancer, anti-androgenic, in fact, clinical studies have even been done in men with prostate cancer, showing that pomegranate juice can actually slow down the rise of PSA. If you don't know, PSA is a blood marker that goes up when you have prostate cancer. And for men who are actually having their PSA go up, having pomegranate juice pretty much kept them at a cruising altitude, so they wouldn't actually keep rising. Pretty amazing, right? So what do we think is actually going on? Well, it turns out the latch of tannins are anti-androgenic. They cut off the blood supply to cancer, and in the case of prostate cancer, they make the prostate cancer harder, making it harder for them to actually grow and become more aggressive. Hence, we think this is why the PSA is able to be leveled off. Now, the other thing that pomegranate juice does, which is really amazing, is that the elegiac tannins, which you eat, trickle down to your gut, going down to your lower gut, your colon. And it stimulates your colon to produce natural mucus, right? We think about mucus normally in the upper throat, back of the mouth, if you want to actually have spit, right? But mucus is all throughout our GI tract, all throughout our intestines, and in the colon. When your colon secretes mucus, mufa, it helps a natural healthy gut bacteria called Akromesia, mufa nophila. Some people say mufa nophila wrong. Akromesia mufa nophila is one of your best friends in gut bacteria because Akromesia plays a significant role. When it comes to cancer, a toxic immune system makes your immune system a lot beefier and stronger in the battle against cancer. So here's pomegranate with pomegranate juice with alleged tannins that actually lower inflammation. They starve cancer by cutting off the blood supply, but they help nurture your gut microbiome, including an organism, Dicromycia mucimanifol, that actually supports your toxic immune system and helps your immune system house and get rid of cancer. All right, 5 foods that actually help fight cancer. Let's go through them. Green tea, brassica, these like broccoli, papaya, purple tatas, and pomegranate. I hope you found this useful, and thank you for watching. Hi there. If you enjoyed watching this video, I know you'll love the next one. Stay here and check it out, and I'll see you there.